Welcome to Tiger Sports Talk, sponsored by Trice Hughes Chevrolet, live here in the studio at WPKY 103.3 FM, The Tiger. Got a lot going on this weekend, Mr. DT. Starting it off with a bang.
Sure do. Move me right down here where I can look dead at you.
There you go.
Hey, let's bring up a few things before we get started here with these chumps.
There you go.
I listened to the show yesterday when Ty had Stacy Mincer on. We got the Pennington Festival this weekend, you know, and we need to push that again and make sure everybody tries to get out and see that. I'm sure it'll be great. I'm going to try to go tonight and see Alonzo for sure. But she was talking about her husband, James the dog Mincer, and when she said he was a great help to her setting up the stage and all that, you know, that's good that she mentioned that, because I know how he feels when Janie's always out doing something, and I usually get to help her. But I remember Dog and, of course, his buddy, Cliff Southern, but Mr. Heena called him Southyard. But both of them were very good. You know, they worked awful hard at the game, and they helped us a whole lot those 2 or 3 years they played.
They really were. They were good football players for us.
Sure were.
And played all 4 years, and as you mentioned, you know, they probably worked for everything that they got.
Yep.
Because they, you know, they brought it to school every day, and you know, we were very proud to have them part of our team, and we're glad to see them back involved here in the community. I think James went off and him and Cliff both may have been in the military.
That's right.
And they're back here in Princeton, and I run into them every now and then, and I know they were very involved in the enactment of the Civil War.
Right.
You know, when they did all of those with their parents, and and it's going to be a beautiful weekend. I heard Ty's weather forecast coming in this morning, and it doesn't mention any rain in the forecast whatsoever. So we want everyone to bring their lawn chairs out and walk uptown, up there on the Butler lawn, and enjoy a lot of music from the Penningtons. And sounds like they got a really great lineup coming in here tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah, even if you don't like music, it'll make you like it.
We got two guys with us here in the studio I know like music.
Yeah, they've been dancing.
And I heard Ty say yesterday to bring your instrument tonight and do a little picking and grinning. And I know these two here
that
probably
puts me and you in the game, doesn't it?
Maybe you're going to bring out your guitars. We got with us live here in the studio this morning the regional championship Coach of the Year in the second region, Bradley Stallins.
That's overrated there. That's overrated.
Caldwell County Tigers. And we got the athletic director and the head football coach, Coach David Barnes. We're glad to have you guys with us this morning.
Thank you.
Bradley, congratulations. Great run. The last time you was in here, I made a bold prediction.
You did.
And
don't tell us what it was.
I told you I had that feeling with the pitching staff we had. I thought we had a good shot at winning this region, and we probably didn't have the best draw, but we made the most out of it. And we started last Monday. Of course, it seems like a month ago, Monday, against University Heights, in the first game of the region. And just take us a little bit back and give us a recap of how the Tigers did it.
You know, it does seem like a month ago. You know, you're talking about the draw. You know, when the draw happened, we knew it was tough, but it's a draw. So, you know, Coach Barnes and I talked, and they rearranged the way they did the draw, and I can't figure out why they did it, but I'm sure they have some mathematics behind it. But I teach social studies for a reason, so I didn't try to figure out the mathematics. But anyway, you know, we knew it was going to be a tough draw, but you get to this time of the year and it's pretty much going to be tough. But, you know, that first round opponent, when we drew UHA, we knew pretty sure who we were going to face in Drew McGowan. And, you know, Drew's a sophomore, and he's probably one of the better arms in the region as a sophomore. And we knew that was going to be a very tough game that we had to get by. And it turned out to be probably the toughest game. Well, it was the toughest game that we had played from start to finish of the tournament, simply because of his arm. And, you know, we had a stellar performance by our own pitcher that night in Gabe East. And, you know, he being able to go a complete game and then us coming from behind there in the seventh to win it was pretty big. And, you know, I think, you know, looking back, our MO for the tournament started that game. You know, Coach Tomic and I were talking before we started. You know, our kids even in that game never really got rattled. I think they were tight because it was the first game of this, of the tournament, but they never really got rattled, and they believed in each other and was able to fight back in that game. The second game, and I think this may be one of the reasons why they were tight. You know, they were looking forward to playing Henderson County. And I had to keep reminding them, guys, it doesn't happen if we don't win the first one. And, you play one game at a time and survive in advance. And when we got to Henderson County, we knew what we were going to do. It wasn't going to be any secret. And, I think everybody in this area, the region, knew who we were going to throw. And, Shane, you can't say enough about him. And, he's a competitor and he's a winner. They're in the third inning. I think we were talking also, and you can ask questions anytime you want to.
You keep talking.
I'm just kind of.
He's figuring on one. Go ahead.
Thinking about
Yeah,
it.
he is. He's gonna have one in a minute.
I had one I was going to
He'll
ask
butt
you.
in on
You
it.
was just on the roll, and I done forgot. We do that
You
every
stop
now
me
and
anytime you want to. But they, Shane, when he took the mound, we were talking. He was on a roll first and second inning. I mean, he was buzzing through, and even in the third inning, he was fairly, clicking. And then that last out, the ball came back, and I still hadn't figured out how it hit him in his finger, but it hit him square in his, in his middle finger on his left hand, which is his throwing hand. And immediately, that was the third out of that inning, and by the time he had got to me right outside the dugout, he already had a blood blister on it, and it was bothering him. It was really bothering him. So we were kind of, I think nervous is the word, anxious is the word, scared maybe borderline a little bit, because when that happens, we had an ample supply of arms.
Right.
But when you had a kid rolling like that,
hate to take that kind of kid out of the game in the third inning.
Exactly. But we were able to, that game, I think we kind of surprised Henderson a little bit. We were able to lay off. They threw, I think, who they thought was their number one. And we laid off some junk early on in the dirt and made him come to the strike zone. And that was key for us offensively. And it kind of set the tone for our kids. And we were able to get runners on base. They're in the first inning, we were threatening. We had a couple things go against us there in that first inning, and we were still threatening to score. And then we broke open there early and put the pressure square on them.
Hit the ball well. I mean, when you
hit
hit it, you hit it hard.
Right, and even that's what we kind of said to the boys. Even our outs were hard hit outs, a lot of them.
One point I was going to make, you're getting a lot of production from the bottom part of your lineup. And, in particular, you go back to University Heights in the bottom of the seventh inning. Tate Van, who's your eighth grader.
Right.
Actually, I guess he's officially now
A freshman.
but
I hope so.
He come through with a big hit one to the wall, and kind of got that rally started. And then the top of your lineup was able to get the bat on the ball and was able to pull out a one-run win there against, as you mentioned, a very well-pitched game by Drew McGowan. And that was a big win for us. And for you to come back against Henderson, that's developing into a good rivalry.
It is.
Caldwell and Henderson, you wouldn't think that, us being actually a 2A school,
right,
or a 1A in baseball, but and against a 6A school, but we're really developing a good rivalry there.
It is, and you look back on that UHA game, and you was talking about Tate and even the other guys, but Tate. We laugh because if you throw Tate a fastball down on his belt,
he's not going to get cheated.
He ain't getting cheated. He's going to get his money's worth on every swing he takes.
I asked Ben the other day, and Ben said he hears him all night long out in that garage. Ping, ping, ping. He's hitting something.
I guarantee it.
And Ben was that type hitter too. He wasn't going to get cheated back when he played.
No. And it shows because when Tate gets in the box, he's ready to hit. He's up there with one purpose, and that's to put a hurting on a baseball. And a lot of our kids are like that. They step in there with a mission, and that's something we talk to them early on: is have a plan when you get in the box, And if that plan is to crush that first pitch fastball, then go get it. But he when he stepped in that box against UHA, he'd hit a hard one before that.
Well, and he's as big as the rest of the kids, and he's just be a freshman
right.
next year. I mean, really, he steps in
man.
there, and you think, well, who's that big kid? He's a big boy.
And he's grown a lot in the last year.
But to change the subject real quick, David will know too on your quarterbacks. When you have quarterbacks, there sometimes you have one year, and the next year you might not, or whatever. But I can't figure out how you got so many kids that can pitch.
I know.
I mean, I don't know if it's just you're great coaching and you teach them how
Absolutely
to throw,
not.
but honestly, you know, I look around and there's most kids, they can either play the infield or the outfield, but you can move almost seven or eight of your kids from there to the pitching man.
Right. And
I don't understand it.
It's a great advantage for us. You know, and a lot of it has to do with these kids. You know, a lot of these kids grew up, you know, playing baseball, and a lot of them grew up pitching at some point in time. And, you know, they enjoy being on the mound. And I think a lot of it, you know, Coach Tomic, pitching is, you know, you got to want the ball and you got to want to compete.
Right.
And
You're
if you've got the ball, and this is kind of what we talk about, you know, you step on the hill, you're in control of the game.
Yep.
You know, and the game rides on you. And if you like that competition, then you're going to like the pitch.
Well, and the other thing, too, what I can tell is even when they get out there and they throw 2 or 3 and they might hit the backstop or whatever, the rest of the infield will, you know, console them or say, you know, let's
Right.
do this. And they seem to do well. I mean, I'm telling you, you not only pitch well, they got good, strong arms.
And, you know, all year, you know, it helps when you're pitching when you know you got 7 guys behind you that are going to make plays. And, you know,
I
we've
was
got a pretty
fixing to
solid
bring
defense.
it up. The runs that our opponents got, most of them were unearned runs,
Right.
and we had a few defensive blunders, I think. But for the most part, we've played good defense,
Right.
and when you got good pitching, that's hard to beat. Good pitching beats good hitting about any day.
Especially this time of year.
This time
you know,
of year,
this time of year.
especially when you get in a tournament format. A lot of these teams have one good pitcher and maybe another one, but we've got 5 or 6 that we can throw at people, and you know, that's got to be a big advantage on our part.
You know, it is a big advantage, and it was a big advantage going into the week because you know, we kind of had an idea of how we wanted to approach the week. And you know, I was talking to Coach Hughes and Coach McGowan. You know, we've been to the regional finals a couple times. You know, a year or two, about 4 or 5 years ago, and then you know, we were there. You know, last year, of course, and even last year, you know, we had arms, but I don't think we were as deep pitching staff wise, maybe as experienced as we were this year. And, you know, it was kind of nice having a couple of options.
Right.
You know, and so that's huge. And you know, he's talking about defense. You know, in that Henderson game, you know, where we had those 2 mishaps. The first drop ball was just, I think, a communication problem there in left field, and you know, the second one, you know, it was a problem when we kind of saw this when we were taking infield and outfield. And you know, I stayed and watched the Henderson and Crittenden game the first round, and I kind of noticed this. The lights at Crittenden are kind of difficult because they're capped. So when that ball goes above those lights and it's dark, you lose it. And it turns into just a black dot. And if you ever move your eyes off of it, you've lost it because you're not going to find it again until it comes underneath it. You know, and that played a role in both of those, not making excuses. But, you know, there were other outfielders on other teams that were struggling as well when that was going on. So that made it kind of difficult. And, you know, in varsity games, most times, I think we may have played 1 game all year under the lights. You know, most of our games are at 5:30, 5 o'clock when you're not playing under the lights. So, you know, that was a challenge in itself. But, you know, we didn't get rattled. You know, we never got rattled.
I mean, it bothered me and Ken Parker and whoever else was sitting with me a whole lot worse than it did the kids. That's the good thing.
Right.
You know, for a young team, they've got pretty good composure. And, you know, you've got basically most of your team returning next year. And, you know, with the confidence that they're playing with, and I've said earlier, I've never seen a team win so many one-run ball games this year. And we've had a few, I think, losses in one-run games, but that's got to add to the confidence when you get in a tight ball game, knowing that you can win a one-run ball game.
Right, and you know, it was kind of one of those deals, and I've said this before, and I don't know if people get tired of hearing this or not, but I think it's true. You know, you are what you are, and you're a product of your environment, and our kids are scrappy. And I think that goes a lot to do with the raising that they've had by their parents, but also this community. You know, it's you got to be scrappy. You got to fight for what you get, and you kind of gotta take pride in who you are and what you are and what you represent. Right. And they do that. They're scrappy. They're a scrappy bunch, and they're also, you know, they are confident. You know, and they're, you know, I think Henderson's coach mentioned this after the game. You know, he said they just never got rattled. Even when we thought we had the momentum, they just never got rattled. And
right, they could have pressed it a few times.
right,
I mean,
they did, and you know they were knocking on the door, and Shane was able, you know, to get us out of it.
Honestly, I believe the pitcher they brought in was better than the one that started.
He looked better. I know he had a lot sharper curveball.
He had a better curveball for sure.
Yes,
he came over the top and threw the ball well. I thought early he was going to be his control wasn't going to take it, but he started throwing the ball well, and then that hurt him worse because we started pounding.
I'm glad they left him out for a little longer than what they did. But you know, and even him, we kind of got to, like you were saying, you know, we kind of hit there at the end. But at first, it took us a while to make that change, and he was very effective. His curveball was a lot sharper. I think he had a little more pop. You know, throwing the ball.
Well, we've talked about the first two games. It's on to the finals. We're playing someone we probably didn't expect when the draw was done. We thought we'd probably get Christian County. And
Right.
we were upset in the first round by Union County, and it gave us an opportunity to get a little revenge because we lost to Union County in a close ball game. Of course, that was back right after we got back from the All-A Classic here in Caldwell County. And tell us a little bit about that game and the factors that measured in.
You know, that was kind of, I don't know what, I believe it was Yogi Berra who said, you know, it's deja vu all over again. You know, you kind of look at the way things set up in the tournament, it was almost close to identical. And, you know, we were sitting there in the first game, and you know, we were actually on the bus coming, and I was kind of keeping up with the scores, you know, and it seemed like, you know, Christian was kind of in control of that game against Union, and then all of a sudden you look, and Union's on top. And, you know, we had talked on Saturday and Sunday, the coaching staff, and said, you know, Union has the I don't know what you say there. They have the ability, but they also have the tradition of pulling an upset or two in a regional tournament. And, you know, they were able to beat Christian County, who was, you know, the favorite, and I don't think it was a light favorite. I'm pretty sure it was a heavy favorite in that game. But Union's scrappy too, and you know they were able to pull that win, and then they were able to beat Livingston.
Livingston in a close game.
Livingston played them close, and you know Livingston's a good young ball team, and you know they had played them close. So when we won that game against Henderson, and then saw Union, weren't real sure who we were going to face. We had an idea it was going to be the Hutchinson player, and you know he's a great ball player. We hadn't saw him. We didn't see him when they played us the first time, and didn't have a lot on him. So. You know, we were scrambling, trying to get information, and you know, he steps on the mound, and you know, we did a very good job, I thought, in that first inning.
Yeah.
We were able to be patient, and that's kind of what I was worried about our kids coming out of the gate, because they wanted to win so bad. I was afraid they'd, you know, just be chomping at the bits and swinging at everything coming. And you know, we'd kind of talked about laying off stuff and making him come to you, and they did an excellent job. He ran his pitch count way up there in the first inning. We were able to push a couple runs, and you know, that's big. And then you had Ty Ramey step on the mound, and I don't know that there's much more you can say about that. That's the best pitching performance I've seen him probably ever. And in that atmosphere, you know, he was dominant. I mean, I don't know any other word to say. He was dominant. And, you know, it was a relief to see that young man have that performance and enjoy that performance. I don't think there was any time where he was tight. You know, he never went out there where he had the deer in the headlights look, and he was ready to go. And
just looking at him, though, he doesn't look like he gets too emotional.
No, he doesn't.
He's
doesn't.
pretty laid back.
He's pretty steady Eddie.
And I think he got that from his dad.
I bet he did. Yeah. Chris is really laid back. I think he better thank his mother for that one. But you know, when he stepped on the mound, you know, I thought he was in control from the first pitch on, and that was awesome to see as a coach, to see that young man. And you know, I think I don't remember if it was the Henderson paper or who it was, you know, after the game, they asked about Ty. And, you know, I said, I think this is where maybe the All-A came back to help us a little bit instead of hurt us, you know, right when we got home. This may be where it came back to help us because, you know, we had talked as a coaching staff, and no three of us really thought Ty would have that deer in the headlights look. You know,
after that first
big game.
Out or two, I forget what it was, when that guy, first base umpire, called him out when he said he tagged him on his back and he was down in right field. I thought, here we go again. Because, I mean, honestly, maybe you all saw it over there, but I don't believe he tagged. I don't think he was out.
Right.
You remember what I'm talking about?
Yes.
The one?
Yeah, and that Henderson game, that's right. And
there's no way that he could tagged him on his back. That's what guy said when he's standing 20 yards.
Right.
Gator, we better take us in.
Yeah, I was going to say,
give us a little break.
We're going to take a short break here and hear from our sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more to Coach Stallins about what to be expecting next week in the state tournament. You're listening to Tiger Sports Talk on 103.3 FM, The Tiger.
You've heard about OnStar, but have you heard about the new Remote Link app available for your smartphone? Now on most all GM vehicles that are equipped with OnStar, you can lock and unlock your vehicle from your phone. You can start your vehicle remotely from anywhere, and you can check diagnostics while browsing your phone. So let's get this straight. You can be out of town, but your vehicle is at home, and your daughter needs her ball bat in the back seat, and you have the keys in your purse. Panic? No way. Just unlock your vehicle from your phone and voila, happy teenager. Stop by Trice, Hughes in Princeton for info and setup. You already knew that Trice, Hughes in Princeton has the #1 service department in Western Kentucky, but did you know that when it's time for a new set of tires, we have you covered for that also? Our tire experts, Jeff Brandon, Garrett Harper, and Kathy Capps, have a combined 84 years of experience, and they are ready to serve you on any make and model vehicle. You'll be surprised at our competitive pricing on name brands such as BF Goodrich, Michelin, Goodyear, Yokohama, Cooper, and Uniroyal. Trice Hughes is also the only tire dealer in town to offer the economy price Kenda brand tire. All tires are road force balanced, providing you with the most comfortable ride possible, and rotations are free as long as you own your tires. Call the tire experts at Trice Hughes today. Quotes are free and the deals are worth the call. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. Let's talk OnStar. Most GM vehicles, maybe even yours, are now equipped with OnStar. The benefits of OnStar are immeasurable when it comes to saving your life and the lives of your loved ones, helping locate your vehicle in the event that you can't, and navigating you when you are lost. OnStar offers automatic crash response that sends emergency responders to your location even if you can't speak. Stolen vehicle assistance will locate your vehicle immediately in the unfortunate case in which someone mistakes your vehicle for theirs. Turn-by-turn navigation is available to take you anywhere you want to go with the push of one blue button. And you can always stay connected when you activate OnStar 4G LTE and Wi-Fi hotspot on select vehicles. OnStar keeps you informed on your vehicle diagnostics and can even diagnose a problem as you are driving down the road. Activate OnStar on your eligible 2011 model year or newer vehicle today and get 3 months free plus 3 years free of their basic plan. Stop in Trice Hughes Incorporated today for details or assistance on your OnStar activation. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. So you're sitting at home, relaxing after a hard day at work. You would like to shop for a vehicle, but simply didn't have the time today. Well, thanks to modern technology and your friends at Trice Hughes, you can pick out the perfect vehicle, get an estimated trade-in value, and even submit a credit application from the comfort of your living room. Visit TriceHughes.com, and in just a few short minutes, you could be on your way to a new car, truck, or SUV. Trice Hughes Incorporated makes it simple to shop from the comfort of your own home. That's TriceHughes.com, Highway 91 North in Princeton.
Back here at Tiger Sports Talk with Gator and DT and sponsored by Trice Hughes Chevrolet. Live here in the studio of WPKY at 103.3 FM, The Tiger. We've been talking to Coach Bradley Stallins on their second region championship this past week. It's the second year in a row. That's got to feel great, Bradley.
You know, it does. And, you know, we kind of told the boys, you know, this year is its own year, but to go back-to-back is hard to do.
Especially a school our size.
Right. It's different challenges. You know, last year I think it was breaking through the wall, knocking down the door, as Coach Hughes used to say, you know, and coming over that hurdle. And this year it was more of overcoming the expectations. You know, it's two different sets of challenges that each present their own unique obstacles. But you know, it was the expectations that you had to fight through, and you know, put them aside and just realize you got to take it. And it's cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. You have to play one game at a time and get better every day that you go out there. Otherwise, those expectations are going to overwhelm you. And you know, that's another example of how our boys were able to fight through that. And I think that helped them out a little bit as we got there.
We had some great individual performances. They were recognized by all second region. You were recognized as the Coach of the Year in the second region. Tell us a little bit about the ones that were on the all-tournament team.
You know,
do they have all?
They do, and they did it a little different this year than we've ever done it before. As coaches, we didn't nominate or anything. They had a committee that was selected before the tournament started that viewed all the games and then picked pick the players. So as coaches, our hands were pretty well off of it. We had nothing to do with it. So that's kind of a blessing, I guess, and a curse, I guess, in another way. I don't know how you look at it. It's kind of a catch-22. We had several kids, that made that, and it was neat to see that. I think we had Noah Brown that made it, Shane Burns that made it, Bryce Thomas that made it, and I'm drawing a blank here who another one was.
Let's see, Jace. No, let's see. Shane Burns. Let's see. I've got him here. Noah Brown, Shane Burns, Ty Ramey, and Bryce.
Ty and Bryce. I couldn't think of who the fourth one was, and it was Ty. And to be honest, each one of them are extremely deserving. Bryce, I think we've talked about Shane and Ty quite a bit with their pitching performance. I think one thing goes unmentioned about Shane, my goodness, he swung a hot stick.
Yeah.
He hit the ball hard several times. Noah, Tate gets that hit against UHA, and then Noah drives him in. Noah made several big plays for us at short as well. And then you look at Bryce. Bryce, catching wise, has come a long way, and it helps. It helps a lot that we have other guys that we can put in other places. That shot he hit against Union kind of was the nail in the coffin. They had scored 2 runs there on our mistake and made it 4-2 and made it a close game. And we come back. And he hits that shot, and I knew he hit it hard, and I knew he got all of it, but I didn't know he hit it that far. And when it pounded off that scoreboard.
The thing about Bryce is that a lot of people may not have noticed this, but he caught almost 7 innings of baseball.
Yes.
And we get in the 7th inning.
Didn't come in relief.
Shane gets his pitch count up to about 114, 115. We had to take him out of the game. That kid comes in and strikes out the guy for the third out to win that game. That says a lot about his heart and character.
It does. And, Bryce is a competitor. And he, you hear, I think, Pete Rose talked about, people love to win. He said, heck, I hate to lose. That's my drive. And I'm
very intense.
And Bryce is that way too. And that's kind of how he goes about it. He hates to lose. He hates to lose. And, I talked to him a couple of times, and, Coach Thomas and I have laughed about this. He reminds me, in not necessarily a good way, he reminds me a lot of myself as far as, sometimes he gets a little caught up in himself with emotions.
No,
but,
yeah.
But I told him after the game, I said, son, I'm as proud of you tonight as I have been in a long time, because if you notice, Henderson, when we played down there, they were trying to get to him a little bit, and then that night, Tuesday night, they were also ribbing him pretty good when he was warming up. And I told him after the game, I said, son, that's as good as I've seen you do to stay within yourself and stay within, our group. And I was extremely proud of him for that. And, to come back the next night, like Coach Barnes said, he caught 7 innings against UHA, caught 7 innings against Henderson, and then caught 7 innings, against Union the last night. And, it wasn't really cool any of those nights either. It was hot and it was humid. And, he had one heck of a tournament. So, and you could have put 2 or 3 others on that team.
Tate.
You think Tate and you think Gabe. And, there's a couple others that could have been as well on that team as deserving as anybody else that was on that team. You could go on down the line. So,
Well, it's on to the state tournament.
it is.
We play next Friday, 6 p.m., 5 Central Time, against a familiar opponent, Scott County.
Right.
We played them last year. Tell us a little bit about what you expect, and it's not like you're going in there unexpected, and they have most of their team returning.
Right.
And then we're going to let Coach Barnes tell us a little bit about some of the specifics that our fans may need to know.
Right. Scott County again. What are they in, Coach? The 12th region, I think.
11th.
region, 12th region. It's the same. Georgetown. It's the same team we played last year, and it's pretty much the same team. I think they were kind of in our boat. They had 2 or 3 key seniors that graduated, but other than that, they had a good core of their team back. And from what I've heard, they were kind of picked to win that region, and it looks like from the scores that they had in those games, they won that region handily, and that's not an easy region to win when you talk about those Lexington teams that are in that region. And so, we'll have our hands full, but, our guys, we talked earlier, that they're used to challenges, and you know, we're going to go up there and, last year I think people thought we might have just been happy to get there. And after the game, there were several people that said, you all came up here to win. And I said, yeah, these boys really didn't expect anything different. And, really don't expect anything different, this coming Friday at 6 o'clock either. So
is it the same I'm sorry, Dave, is it the same place that you played?
yes,
in
Whitaker Bank, same park and everything. So.
Unique thing is they're coached by a guy that was at Webster County, took Webster County to the state tournament a few years back, Scott Willard, who coached with Coach Eric Hogg in football. And he's a great guy, a good man, and so I know he has a lot of respect for our baseball team.
He's no familiar face here in Western Kentucky. He followed Coach Hogg, when he passed away several years ago at Webster County, and he was also the baseball coach. And he had some outstanding baseball teams at Webster County, so he's the head coach at Scott County now.
Right, and he's no stranger, and he, like Coach Barnes was saying, he's a really nice man. He's a good man, and he's helped me out a couple times, over the years when we needed some information about some teams, and he's just a good guy. So,
Coach Barnes, tell us a little bit about some information on the state tournament, and you were telling us during the break what our fans can expect.
Well, our team will be staying. Last year we stayed at the Campbell House, and this year we got moved to the Clarion, which is out on Newtown Pike, out by that big Marriott. So that's where our team will be staying. So our fans, I'm sure they won't stay where our team is. They'll need to call and get their rooms and set that stuff up themselves. They can go online and buy tickets, buy their tickets if they want, or they can get them at the gate. But there's not a bad seat in that place. The only thing there's no nets up down to the baselines. It's kind of a dangerous place if you sit on the first base side or the third base side. It's kind of dangerous there, but it's a great venue, and we've been there. It's our third trip there. We went there last year and in Class A, and we're going back for our third trip.
And you mentioned the format is somewhat different than it was a few years ago.
A few years ago, you had to win 2 out of 3 when you got to after the regional tournament. Now then, you play 2 separate weekends, and so we play 2 games on this week. It's coming up weekend, and then 2 games the next weekend to win it all, and that helps you on your pitching.
Yeah, and we're pretty familiar with the ballpark since we played there a few weeks ago in the All-A Classic, and we know we'll take a strong contingent of fans.
The good thing is we won't have to play at 7:30 in the morning.
No, that is a good thing. We play at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and if we're fortunate enough to win that game, we play again on Saturday against the winner of probably the top 2 teams in the state, McCracken County, who we've already seen, and Louisville Trinity.
Somehow we're a small school that got thrown in the big school bracket. You look at McCracken, which is one of the bigger schools in the state, and then you got Trinity, which is an all-boys school with about 2,500 kids. And then you got Scott County, which I think is probably the biggest school in the state.
It's the biggest school in the state, I believe.
So here we are, 2A school, and but I feel really good about our chances. We got 3 good arms. If you go back to the regional tournament, you got to win 3 games to get out of it. We got 3 exceptional performances out of our pitchers. I mean, those kids went out there and battled, and at this point in the season, you got to be able to hit the baseball and be able to throw strikes, and our kids are doing that, and I feel really good about it.
We have to tell Barry Burns, be careful. Barry and Jughead.
I asked Bradley if you had to sit out a game before.
Yeah,
he may have to sit out that first game.
Yeah, he knows where to go when he gets put out, though.
He can put on that Groucho Marx mustache and them glasses and walk on in, and they won't know anything.
How are the umpires selected for this state tournament?
I have no idea. I know this. When you look at going from playing with 2 umpires or 3 at some point to a 4-man crew, it showed the other night how that affects your umpires. And that foul ball, the home plate umpire doesn't make a call, the third base umpire doesn't make a call. They didn't know who was supposed to make the call. It was a foul ball from where I said it was definitely foul, but nobody made a call on it. And I think it has to do with the fact you're using a 4-man crew and they're not used to it.
Yeah.
But we got one in the state tournament. It'll be the same deal. So, I think everything will work out.
We also
I knew it was foul when Jordan Dunn said it was foul. If he thinks
Jordan's
it's foul,
on the call.
It'll be foul, because he doesn't know anything about it anyway.
He was sitting right on the line.
Yeah. Well, for the people that will be unable to attend, we want them to tune in to 103.3 FM. We're going to, Ty was telling me this morning, we're going to be carrying the entire tournament long as Caldwell is still alive. And, we
Broadcast and audio.
broadcast audio. They're not able to live stream it.
Not video.
Video.
Yeah, we're not doing
But you can tune in and listen to Bob And-
Yeah, and I'll be there. Jordan's going on vacation.
Oh, Jordan's gonna take a vacation on us, so,
Our team will be leaving on Thursday to go up, and we've got them set up to hit and practice at LCA in Lexington on Friday morning, which is the same thing we did last year, and we appreciate them allowing us to do that.
right.
So we're taking a school bus, or are y'all gonna drive different
No, we're
vehicles?
taking bus. We'll take bus. Yes,
That's a
sir.
fine ride.
And I'm sure most of the parents will probably be leaving on Thursday, or, well, the ones that's gotta work on Friday, I guess.
May take a half day.
Take
or
a
whatever.
half a day off, so
Take a day.
you're looking at
They do
about a
need to go
3 and
ahead. They do need to go ahead and start trying to get to rooms, because there's probably 6 teams that I saw on that list that are staying at the same hotel.
Right. And there's some familiar teams, we were talking earlier, that we've already played this year that are in the state tournament up there. We mentioned McCracken County, who we've
Right.
already seen, and
Franklin
Simpson. I don't think there's another school that participated in the All-A Classic but us.
No, that's
in the
correct.
state tournament. So, you know, our congratulations go out to you and the Tigers, and we know that Princeton and Caldwell County will send a strong contingent of fans up there, and they'll be heard on the radio. So
Well,
tune in next Friday for the play of that game.
And before we go, I'd just like to say thank you to this community. You know, I said this after we got back from the All-A. It's neat to see the support and to see the crowd that we had against Henderson, UHA too, but especially against Henderson when they were lying down that side and we were wrapped around to the outfield and it was nothing but blue and gold, you know, and you look over there in Henderson and, you know, they're not used to getting drowned out, and, buddy, they were drowned out.
Yep.
And I know that's not good English. Sorry, my English teacher, but
That's
they were
all right.
absolutely drowned out.
Social
And
studies teacher.
Now,
You
who
know-
was your English teacher? You
I
remember?
had too many. I'm not gonna embarrass them.
Miss
They did a
Nixon's
fine
one,
job.
she'll let you know.
They did a fine job. That's just my fault. But you know, and then to look at the championship game, and we were, you know, we had people lined up down the hill and everything along the third base side, and it was awesome to see and the support that they have for the kids. And I can assure you, it was felt and it was very much appreciated.
And Crittenden County did an outstanding job of hosting.
Yeah,
They
I'd
did
like
an
to thank
awesome
Gans
job.
the Starnes, who, you know, she's the AD down there. They did a great job of getting people parked and then getting people in the park. And
And that's a nice stadium.
they
It
did,
really
she
is
did,
a
they
nice
did a great
facility.
job of running that tournament.
Named after Gordon Guest. One of my
He was there.
longtime supporters.
He was in front of us sitting down.
Gordon.
He stayed for a little while. And
You know, he helped get semi-pro baseball there.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's a great asset. to
Didn't
that
Lacey help
community.
build that field?
Dennis Lacey?
I believe they did.
I believe they-
Janie said she thought Lacey put some money in on that field.
And it's, you know, it's a great field, a good atmosphere to watch a tournament. And hopefully someday that we can have our park and be able to host a regional tournament. And I think we
Yeah,
mentioned a few
because our
weeks
field's a
ago.
whole lot nicer than theirs was.
Yeah.
No offense, the ground and the grass.
We
is a
just
whole
had
lot nicer.
a light situation.
Yeah, we
the
just
light
got to
situation.
take care of the light situation. Well, we're going to take a short break again and listen, hear from our sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to change the atmosphere a little bit and talk a little bit about football. You're listening to Tiger Sports Talk on 103.3 FM, The Tiger.
What does your service appointment at Trice Hughes do? Glad you asked. Here at Trice Hughes, we give a true 27-point inspection with each vehicle service. We change your oil, check fluids in your transmission, coolant system, power steering, washing fluid, and brakes. Then we inspect your tires, wiper blades, brakes, air filter, belts, hoses, drive boots, and exhaust system. Shoo, that's a lot. Keeping your vehicle maintained at Trice Hughes in Princeton is your best chance of a long and happy vehicle life. Call today for your appointment, 270-365-5522, Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. Trice Hughes in Princeton wants to remind everyone that we have a full line of genuine GM and Mopar parts and accessories for your car, truck, or SUV. We also offer Retrax bed covers. You have to see to believe how awesome they are. WeatherTech floor mats are a must for folks with little people and moms and dads that want to keep their entire carpet protected. Make your truck or SUV stand out with chrome accessories such as 20-inch wheels and tires, running boards, mirror covers, and door handles. Need a gift idea? Adding remote start will surely please your loved one. Call Shauna today for all your accessory needs. 270-365-5522. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. New car and truck buyers, listen up. It's the time of year that the 16s are rolling out and the 17s are rolling in. At Trice Hughes Incorporated, we offer 7 new American car lines to choose from, awesome trade-in allowances, end-of-the-year model rebates, and great financing options. Some people think they have to go out of town for a great deal. We think shopping in Princeton, Kentucky at Trice Hughes Incorporated might just be the best decision you ever make. Give Trice a try before you buy. And as always, if we don't have what you're looking for on our lot, we'll find it for you. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton.
Back here at Tiger Sports Talk with Gator and DT, 103.3 FM, The Tiger. We want to thank Coach Stallins for coming in and talking to us and staying with us, talking about the second region championship. We also want to recognize the girls softball team. They made a great run this season, and they were defeated the first round of the second region by a very good Christian County team, 4-3, and it went right down to the wire. And I was listening to it on 103.3.
Yeah, thanks to Cindy Franklin.
Cindy Franklin did a great job. I want to congratulate her and for bringing that to us. And we also want to recognize a couple of girls, or a few girls, that made the all-region team. Maddie Schoch was selected for the all-second region team, and also on the chosen for the seasonal all-second region team was Katie Franklin and Nashe Glover. And we want to send our congratulations out to them, as well as the coaching staff and everyone. And Coach Barnes, we've only got one spring sport still alive. It was a very successful spring sports season here at Caldwell County, and just elaborate a little bit on that and your thoughts.
Going back to our softball team, to get beat by Christian County, which is one of the better teams in the region, 4-3. We were down 4-0 and came back and almost had a chance to win that game. And the thing is, we only had one senior on that team. So we got everybody back. Chandler Litchfield's the only senior on that team, so all those kids are back.
Right.
So it looks good for us in the future. Tennis team advanced to the state tournament again. That's something they've done every year for ever since I think Coach Farmer's been involved, and that's a great tribute to them and their program. We had one kid qualify for track and shot put, but decided to stay home for graduation. The finals were the same night as graduation, and he stayed for graduation. So,
well, it's been a great sports year for Caldwell County as we're coming to an end. And I mean, that's got a lot of credit's got to go to you and all your coaching staff and the support people. We've mentioned on numerous occasions Christy Phelps. We appreciate her allowing us to take some of your coaches and bring them in here each and every Friday morning on this Tiger Sports Talk. And it's not easy to cover for those, and it's just been an outstanding sports season.
Yes, it is. And when we get our coaches or players in here on the radio and out speaking out in the community, it helps us and gets us out there with the community. But I think a lot of our success has to do with where we live. This community, how it supports our school, how it supports our programs, how it supports our sports teams. And when we go up there this Friday at 5 o'clock, we'll have as many fans in that stadium as anybody up there. And it says a lot about this community. And I think that's why our kids, when they put that uniform on, it means something. And to Coach Stallins and his team, we congratulate him for another. It's hard to get back. I listened to the McCracken County coach on TV last night. This will be their fourth trip in a row, which.
And you mentioned earlier, no one plays football.
They're all baseball. They're all baseball, and that goes back to something I was wanting to say about our kids, our players, our coaches, is that we're in a small school. We got share athletes, and you look at our baseball team, there's probably 7 or 8 kids on that team that contribute that are multi-sport athletes, and that says a lot. And to be able to get back and, it's a shame to say a kid can't play football or a kid can't play basketball. They got to concentrate. And, if you look at the NFL draft last month, I think 30 out of the 32 players that were took number 1 were multi-sport athletes. So, I'm just glad we got coaches that work together and we can make that thing happen.
And I think all your coaches encourages their athletes to play other sports.
Yeah, that's correct.
And, it's always, and they take great pride, as you mentioned, to represent this community. And we have some of the best fans you'll ever see. We got some very intense fans at times, but that's okay.
There's a lot to be said about being in a town where you have one school.
Right.
And you're in a place where you got 4 schools that you don't get what you get here.
Exactly.
And it means a lot. And I'd like to say something about our radio station. The fact that we are able to get our games, turn on the radio or turn on the stream on the internet and be able to watch the games, that says a lot about our community and making sure we make that happen.
It sure does. Let's turn our attention now to another sport. It's just a short time away, football. our fall sports season.
Before you do that, let me give another shout out here to some different too. Not sports, since this is a sports show, but from looking in the paper from all of our graduation, we have a pretty good academic core too at school.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a whole lot of ribbons around people's necks. I didn't have one of those, but
We had a lot of valedictorians.
A lot of valedictorians. You know, and some of them, a lot of them participate, some of them don't.
Not
And
only
the ones that don't, you know, that's still fine. We're very proud of those individuals as well.
Not only high athletic success, high academic success. And of course, class night, you saw how much money was passed out to all these graduating seniors, and we want to applaud the school system on educating our youth. Let's turn our attention now to football.
Something we can talk about.
Something we can talk about. And, you know, with this being our last show before we begin the fall sports season, of course, we're going to talk to Coach Barnes about football, but there's other fall sports that's going to be starting up here pretty soon. And we enter into a dead period here. We always do in June 25th through July 9th. I assume that's still the
That's
same
correct.
dates. Tell us what you're doing now.
Right now, what we're doing, you know, with baseball still going on, and a
I
lot of our
know,
skill
right?
kids are still in baseball, which is a good thing. And you know, we're working out 3 days a week in the weight room, and then we go outside. Our linemen come in early, and they go out on the field first and do their drills, and then they come to the weight room, and the skill guys go to the weight room and into the field. So we're just implementing some of our stuff and trying to get as much in as we can. You know, we kind of limited some things that you can do. When they kind of changed June back a few years ago, where you can't do 7-on-7 in June, which, you know, if your baseball team advances like ours has the last 2 years, you would really not be able to do 7-on-7 because,
Right.
you know,
Penalized.
June 18th is the last game. And now, and then June 25th rolls around, you're on dead period. But that's a good thing to happen, though.
Are your numbers good in the weight room right now,
Yes.
besides the ones that are still participating?
Yeah, we had a really good winter program. We had a lot of kids involved. Or some that didn't show up that should have showed up, and they know who they are. But they've been here this summer so far. And the thing that we got to really work hard on is getting some offensive linemen developed. And we can get that done, we're going to be in good shape.
And I know we have spring practice here in the state of Kentucky, but we're kind of hindered being a Class 2A school. The smaller schools really doesn't benefit a lot from spring practice. We have so many athletes playing other spring sports?
You know, with us, you know, spring practice really is not something that we put a lot of emphasis on. We went out a few days went out just in shorts and t-shirts and did drill work. But you know, for us to go out full gear like some schools, we don't do that. You know, you got our quarterbacks, Joby and Shane, both were at baseball, and your receivers are at baseball, and you got some doing track, and that's a good thing to have. You know, so we don't really put a lot of emphasis on spring. We can get a lot done in June, and then in July we'll get a lot done.
And go ahead.
I was just going to say, you mentioned, you know, if you get your linemen in place, you'll be in pretty good shape next year. The thing about that is, if any of you guys are listening out there, if you're not participating and starting where you think you should be, there's room for you there. And you have a good coach. McClung knows a whole lot about the line. You need to get in there and work at it. You can play line. You don't have to be 290 pounds. We had some dandies when we played. They would pull and knock you out, and they didn't weigh 130 pounds, you know. But just get in there, hang in there. That's what makes a good football team is just it's called a team. So hang in there and get you some. You will.
That's good. I'm glad you said that, DT.
And you,
Said it better than I could.
and the success that we've had the past several seasons, you know, they'll be chomping at the bit to be part of this football program.
You know, if you look at our schedule, you know, we'll open up again with Christian County, and then we got picked up Hopkinsville on the schedule. We got Henderson County on the schedule again, Gray County on the schedule.
Wow.
So, you know, our first 5 ball games out on non-district games are pretty tough games,
Right.
and but you know, you got to play good people to be, you know, to get better. And the main thing is be ready when that first district game rolls around.
Well, one more thing too about the linemen, and I wasn't a lineman for sure, and I didn't coach them, don't want to, but nowadays, back when Coach Gates and I were in the business, you had to put your hands on the line, down on the ground, and you had to drive somebody off the ball like Mayfield. They drive you from here to Princeton, you know, there to Princeton, I mean. But nowadays, you in the 2-point stance, you don't have to be that physical.
Techniques
You know,
have
you just got to
changed
be a
considerably.
technique person and get out there and
Getting
perform
somebody's way.
and get you a number 60 or 70 on and play.
That's
You know,
right.
That's what you need to do.
And you know, the way that they've done the root, they're taking the head out of the game. You can't use your face and helmet as a
Why
tool.
are you still selling them helmets? You need to
well,
quit.
we are the ones that's designing these, and you know, and we get more and more research every year. You know, everyone's concerned about concussions. I mean, that's in our concussion reduction technology that we've put into all of our helmets.
Putting in a modest plug in the Coach Stone.
And let me tell you, the equipment we play with
Money.
today is a lot better than it was, DT, back when we played.
Oh, man.
I mean, there wasn't helmet liners that you could inflate. You know,
your head.
you know, sometimes you could turn
Suspension.
that helmet around and look through the ear hole on numerous occasions. But you know, it's just a short time away, and you know, everyone here in this community, I know, gets excited about the start of the football season. And of course, I know in June and July is not the greatest of months weather-wise to get prepared for it. But you know, August will be here before you know it. And you know, something else, David, that's got to be an asset to you is having your head baseball coach as one of your assistants.
That's a big help.
And you know,
He also played quarterback for DT.
yeah, and also a very good quarterback and baseball player, and we're just so proud to have him part of this community and part of these athletic programs and here at Caldwell County. And you just can't say enough about all your coaches. I saw Wayne yesterday. He's helping Taylor's over here at Princeton Lumber Company, and I know he's excited about it. And DT mentioned Aaron McClung, and I see Jeff Riley working
I saw him
out.
on the field 2 days ago. I don't know what time it was. Must have been when y'all were lifting.
Yeah.
He had the group on the field.
And I think, doesn't Jeff work a lot with your line?
He and McClung both.
Him and
do.
McClung work together, and you couldn't find, like DT said, two better people to work with them. And you know, don't be afraid to get hurt. I mean, that we've seen injuries occur in other sports that are probably not as contact and physical as football. But we want to encourage any young man out there that's interested in being part of something special to come and be part of the Caldwell County football program.
That's correct.
Coach Tomic, you got anything else you'd like to add? We're getting close to the 9 o'clock hour. This is our last show that we'll be doing until the fall sports season, and we want to thank especially all of our listeners and viewers for tuning in here and allowing us to come into the studio and interview these coaches and talk about these athletes at Caldwell County and Lyon County.
Yeah, well, like I say, I know what I sound like on the radio. I've heard it before, and it's not very fun. But between you and I, doing what we're doing here, and all we're doing is really having fun. And as long as these guys continue to participate and Ty continues to let us come in, you know, I at first I really didn't think that would be my forte, and it's not. But I like to have fun, and if that's the one thing I'm going to do is try to cut up and have fun in here. And you can be the serious guy, do all the stuff, ask all the important questions, and then they'll answer something else. But I've enjoyed it. I really have, and I hope. Like
And we've
say,
given shout outs to different people
hey,
here.
we got another shout out. What's that boy's name?
Oh, Brandon
Brandon.
from Paducah Coca-Cola,
No, well, yeah, but he lived in Illinois. He comes here. He came. We met him.
Massac County.
Met him in Heaton's last week after the show. He was in there just talking about something. He said, you know, I was in the dollar store and I listened to that sports show. I'm a sports fanatic every Friday morning in the dollar store. And
At 8
said-
o'clock. At
He
8
said,
o'clock
I
he's in
really
there."
enjoy that. And I thought, man, this guy's been setting us up.
And shout out the dollar store too, because they have us cranked up
Hey,
in there.
And-
we want to
all day long.
And he
Lots of folks do,
he
that's
said
just one.
he
But-
said just tell him it's Brandon the Coke man. He said, well, maybe you might not want to put it that way.
Coca-Cola.
But he talked to us for 20 minutes over
And
there.
he didn't realize we were the
No.
two that were putting it on.
And then after we told him, he left.
Well, we do. We appreciate everyone that's, you know, told us if they like it or not. You know, they tell us they do.
Y'all do a great job.
Well,
And
we-
I'm serious when I say that.
You know, it helps being retired, you know, and for us, it gives us something to do and look forward to on Friday mornings. And of course, when we started out, we just really wanted to do the football portion of it, and because we didn't know a whole lot about the other sports, but we feel like we've given ample consideration to every sport played here at Caldwell County.
Well, the thing about it too is we're old enough now to where most of our players will listen some of the time. But when we're going to next year, a lot of listeners are older people. No offense, and we're going to have Ed Settle and people that played back in that
right,
time.
Earl Stevens.
When they won the state championship, and we'll have them talk, and we'll put it on ahead of time so some of the other people can listen to them. Because I'm very interested in stuff like that, and I read that book that Todd put out.
Yeah, it's a great
Man, it
book.
was very great.
Great.
But I like listening to those guys tell those stories about. You don't have a clue who was a really good football player back in that day,
Right.
and then they tell you what they did. But
And also, our very first show that we're going to do, we think, is going to be Greg Smith.
yeah, I think that'll be our second.
Is that gonna be the
that's-
second?
That's during Dotson days, and then
Okay.
we're going to try to start a week
And-
before because David and them will be
Right,
practicing.
and we want to promote Dotson like we did last year. I think
Yeah.
Justin Grooms came in, and he was the guest speaker
Yep.
at the banquet, and of course, he's a former athlete here, and we were able to interview him, and hopefully we'll have Greg Smith in here, and I know a lot of the older people in this community will remember him and his family and how much they've meant to the city of Princeton and the community of Caldwell County. And
Mr. Smith, he was something
Man,
else, wasn't he? He took care of that school out
he
there.
sure did. He sure did, and of course, he
He's
was
a
one of my
special
best
person.
friends, and I know these guys in
Yes.
here as well. And he loved people,
Yes.
and he loved sports and Caldwell,
Caldwell County
County,
is what he is.
and we sure do miss him. Once again, we want to thank everyone for tuning in and listening each Friday morning here at WPKY, and we look forward to returning here back. It won't be too many weeks away.
It'll be quicker than you
It'll be
think.
quicker than you think.
Good
and
Lord willing, we
if
will
you see
be.
DT or I out here and you've got any suggestions that you'd like to see us interview, some former player, coach, or just a community supporter, just let us know, and we'll be more than happy to talk to them to see if they'd like to come on and talk about Caldwell County sports.
Good luck, Coach Stallins.
Thank y'all for having us, and thank you for your support at the station. And again, thanks for the community and what they have. And Coach Dominic, you mentioned the older guys. It was neat as the year went on. A lot of those older guys would come up, older, not my, and we shake your hand. Yeah, right. Seasoned, how's that word? And they would come up, and shake the boys' hands. That means a lot too to see that interaction between that generation and the new generation, and that means a lot to pass that torch on. And I hope all of our sports, our youth, are carrying the torch that that they were able to lay the foundation for.
I'll give another shout out real quick to my old buddy Dickie McAllister. He's there all the time. I know he has Gabe playing, but still he's one of those that Ed Settle. I'm getting him on there next year. If good Lord willing, me and him are gonna sit there
And
talk.
Billy Baker, don't forget about
Oh Lord help us, he's a Fredone Yellow Jacket. No.
Hey, once again, we want to thank the owners of this station as well for allowing us, and especially the sponsor of this show, the Trice Hughes family. We appreciate them for sponsoring it, and we want to encourage everyone in this community to continue to see Ty and get some sponsorships in here. We're a hometown radio show, and I heard you at Farmers Market yesterday. They had a great kickoff there, and there's going to be opportunities throughout the summer here.
Never know when we're going to show up.
You'll never know. Well, this winds us down. We once again appreciate everyone for tuning in and listening, and you've been listening to Tiger Sports Talk on 103.3 FM, The Tiger.
You've heard about OnStar, but have you heard about the new remote link app available